Hi, I'm so happy you're here. In today's video, I want to share with you how I found faith. And it's a powerful story. So stick with me because if you've been feeling disconnected, this is the thing that has changed everything for me. And I have to tell you, when I was most lost in my life, I look back and it's because I was completely disconnected from faith. And for me, I was disconnected from God. God was gone, or at least that's what I believed. But the truth is, God wasn't gone. I had turned my back on God. Let me explain. So, one of the things in over 20 years working in transformational coaching and being blessed with having thousands of women go through our programs, the thing that I'm most proud of and most surprised about was, I started off in getting women off of dieting and healing their relationship with food, because at the height of dieting for me, disordered eating in truth, I was so disconnected from myself and I was very isolated and disconnected from God. Now, when I say isolated, I do not mean I had tons of friends. I had a boyfriend. If you saw my life from the outside, I looked perfect. I had a great job. Everything was together, but inside, I was crumbling. I was judging myself. I was caught up in crazy food thoughts. And if you've struggled with your weight or had any disordered eating, you know what I'm talking about. You feel like there's seriously something wrong with you. And it was hard and it was lonely. And again, when you are, for anybody that has that or has struggled with that, please let me know in the comments below. But especially if you're an emotional eater, there's a lot of guilt and shame, and you don't actually know why you have and can't actually stop thinking about food. I don't care what you weigh, but you feel like they're called crazy food thoughts. And I want to go into this. So stay with me here, because if you have been struggling at all in life, this video is going to change it all for you. I promise. Please stay till the end. The story is powerful and I know it is needed. So what I heard from clients when we would ask, testimonials and what happened, it wasn't, I transformed my body and I finally healed my relationship with food, or I repaired my marriage, or, I feel healthy. I'm no longer depressed, like all these things, which are wonderful things. But what surprised me and also brought so much joy to my heart was they said, the thing I'm so grateful for with my time with you, Melissa, that was the most unexpected. And for me was, you brought me back to my faith, and faith in God, universe, and faith in themselves. And that's a big piece to this. So if you've been feeling lost at all, if you are struggling with your weight and illness, struggling with depression, anxiety, just struggling in life in any way and feeling unsupported and just lost and like you don't know the way, stay with me. I grew up, and I would love to hear if that is you. And so this video will support you. So I grew up, we're going to go back in time. We're going to go back in time like I'm a 100-year-old woman. I swear to God, so much has changed so fast. I was cracking up earlier. I was talking in our Next Level You challenge here, and I was like, so when we didn't have cell phones, and I was like, oh my God, that was only like 20 some years ago. I didn't have a cell phone. They did not exist. Does anybody remember a Palm Pilot? Yes. Or a BlackBerry? Okay. So now to get back into it. I grew up in a small town, and it was Catholic. There was very little diversity. I went to an all-girls private Catholic school. Again, when I say there was very little diversity, I didn't even have Jewish friends. I didn't have there was no diversity. I can't say it any other way. Everyone was like Irish, Italian, Catholic. And when you grow up with that around you, unfortunately, you don't really think much differently. It wasn't until, and I went to a Catholic college. It wasn't until I moved to New York City and I had Jewish friends, and I thought, wow, there's such a beautiful religion. And at that time, and growing up and being in all girls private Catholic school, my parents were Catholic, but they were also, they weren't like read the Bible and do this, but we went to church. And faith was important to me. And at that time, I saw God as this big man in the sky with a white beard. I swear, I still do. But what I realized was Catholic guilt, one, is a very real thing. Can I get an amen on that one down below? Anybody else? Because becoming a recovering Catholic, wow, the guilt is no joke and it stays with you. Two, I realized that I didn't see God as supportive. I actually feared God. I thought, if you lie, if you're a bad person, pray for forgiveness, ask to be removed of your sins. Like, really, I mean, this is what I thought. And I thought that something bad would happen. And that's a hard place to be, because then you're actually nothing was framed. I didn't understand the Bible. I didn't understand why I had to memorize the Bible when 50% of it is made up, right? And that's like proven. And so I was sitting there and I remember we'd have to read the stories in theology, and then it was like, did you memorize them? I'm like, but I don't even understand them, because it was never taught in terms of, I now see the Bible as a book of life. It's like the number one self-development book in the world. That is not how I understood. I didn't even understand half of what was being said. Now, what I saw though was I found myself, fast forward, I'm in New York City, and I was in fashion, and I was really struggling with my identity and finding out who I was. And I was at the height of disordered eating. A lot of my friends were getting married and having kids, and that was not where I was mentally. But I also was pursuing my purpose, but I was confused. I was afraid. There were so many factors, but again, I want to go into, on the outside, I looked like, and this is why I always say, you never know what is going on with somebody. And so on the inside though, on the outside, I looked super happy and thriving and amazing job, and I looked good and blah, 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 and I've got all the friends. And on the inside, I was really unhappy. And a lot was changing in my world, what was changing for me, but, and things that I once enjoyed, I wasn't enjoying anymore. I didn't know where I fit in. And I was really afraid to go for what I wanted, and I wasn't really clear on who I was. I felt really disconnected from myself. And when I look back, I was disconnected from faith. I had lost my way, and I didn't even really have a connection at all. I wasn't praying. I really wasn't going to church. I wasn't doing anything to foster a connection outside of me. So what that meant was I was putting the weight of the world on me. It was very me-centric. I need to figure this out. I am the problem. I have this problem with food. I need to go on another diet. Maybe I need to talk to, I didn't know what was going on, but I felt, it felt hard and lonely, and I felt really misunderstood. And the truth is, I didn't even know if I really knew myself. And so I started to look at religion, and I asked myself, if I wasn't born Catholic, would I be Catholic? Why do I believe in this if I'm not even doing anything with it? And what happened here? I once was a lot more connected to my religion. And so a lot of my friends were Jewish, and I learned about Judaism, and I thought, wow, this is such a beautiful religion. I think beautiful religion is just a beautiful aspect to life that guides you on being a good, kind person. So I learned about Judaism, and my friends were like, come to synagogue. And I was like, okay, right? So I go to synagogue. I learned about Judaism. I learned about Christianity. I learned about Buddhism. And for a time there, I just said, I'm spiritual. And the truth is, I always believed in God. I just didn't know if the Catholic Church was the right place for me. And I really wanted to be connected to something. And I saw that that was missing. I felt it in my heart. And so after some time, and I took time to really look into this, I went back to reading the Bible. I got introduced to A Course in Miracles by one of my very earliest mentors, Marianne Williamson. And that's when I was like, oh my God, this makes sense now. And I found the Bible, I found it fascinating. And I went back, I read A Course in Miracles, I studied it. And then I went and learned about the Bible, and I was like, oh, now I know how to apply it to life. I understand. And I became a student of it. But the biggest piece that I want to share with you is I asked myself, and I saw a huge gap. And the gap was me with God. There was no relationship. And I remember in A Course in Miracles, and I went to a mass. No, I went to a service, a spiritual service. Was this on the Lower East Side? I'm trying to remember. And they said, well, you are God. God's within you. And I was like, I am God? And I was like, this is blasphemous. Like, I was like, what? That is not what I was taught. Like, it just felt wrong. Like, I was like, I am not God. I don't understand. And then it was, but you believe you're a child of God. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, that's what, yeah. And it was like, well, if you're a child of God, just like you're your mother's child, then like you have their eyes, their hair, like aspects and traits. And I was like, yeah. And it's like, well, then why wouldn't you want to conceive that you have the ability to tap into being limitless, and that you have this unconditionally loving parent presence that is here to support you at any time of the day in all ways. And it wants, like, this presence, right, wants nothing but to love you and wants nothing for you but to be happy. And it's only love, it's pure love, that in the eyes of the divine, you can never do anything wrong. That it's only absolute pure love. And that's when I was broken open, because that was the most beautiful thing. Because I don't care who you are. I don't care if you had the best childhood ever. There was an aspect where we always wanted to be accepted, approved of, and loved and seen. And no matter, even if you have the greatest parents in the world, to be loved so unconditionally that they always just saw the best in you and just supported you and were your cheerleader at all times, saying, I believe in you. You are meant for great things. Go for your dreams. You've got what it takes. You are perfect in every way. And that's what God is for me. And so I had to go back and go, okay, well, I actually fear God. And I had to rewrite that. Much like I teach about rewriting your inner narrative in life and your relationship to yourself and your concept of self, and that you are the narrator and you are the creator, we get to co-create. And I said, what would I love for my relationship with God? And I said, I want it to be an open relationship. I don't want to fear God. I want it to be the way that I can go and talk to my father at any time. And the way, you know, my mother is no longer with me, but I still talk to her now, but that I would talk to her, and that they're always there, and that they love me, and that whatever it has been missing for me can be filled through my relationship. And in that time, I chose to cultivate a relationship, and I made it a relationship that was one of unconditional love. And I also allowed myself to be angry to God. You know, if I was angry when I was told cancer came back, I was angry. I was livid. You know, I sat there and I dropped to my knees. I'm like, I have done everything. What? You know, and I was angry. And then I heard very clearly, because I'd cultivated such a deep, rich relationship to God and in my faith, I heard, you're healed. You're healthy. Get up off your knees. Because I literally collapsed to the ground because I was beside myself. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. And in that moment, I knew. And that's what I'm talking about. It's that relationship. It's when you know that. And I remember I heard Maria Menounos when she got, she adopted her baby, and then she had gotten cancer. And she was like, God, seriously, like what, and something almost to a T, a very similar experience happened. And I heard her say it in an interview, and I was like, girl, I want to reach out to you. I wish we were friends, because I want to be like, that just happened to me. You know, not just, mine was a few years earlier, but it was she heard, you're healthy. And she's like, I just chose to believe that. And again, her cancer too was eradicated, right, from her body. So that's her story. I don't want to but I say this because when you're deeply connected to your faith, that's what we need. We need to know that there is this omniscient, ever-loving, unconditional presence that's there. And I did a distinction around God versus the universe. And if that is something that you question, I have another video here where I go in depth about that and how the universe is operating off of energy and frequency and vibration. And God is omniscient and unconditionally loving presence that has created worlds upon worlds and everything that we see here. And so I say this to you because if you have been feeling lost, I can tell you at the height of disordered eating, I found myself again, that was the time. And that was another time I just broke down, but I went into full surrender. And I said, God, I need you. I need you. I need you in my life. I need you to guide me. I am turning this whole thing over to you because I am so sick and tired of dieting and losing and gaining and beating myself up and being caught in this game. And for anybody here that's ever struggled with anything with food and their body or any sort of any struggles where, you know, you've been dependent or reliant on something outside of you, you know, it's where you feel that you're at a loss completely. And I remember I had just sat and I was just done and I felt so low, so low. And I just surrendered all. And that is when I said, I need you to guide me. And God guided me to how to heal my body. And that's what became one of my globally recognized. That was my very first 6-month transformational program. It at one time was 1 year, but I ran it for 8 years, helping thousands of women. And that's what forever changed and healed me and my relationship with food and my body. And I say that because when we do turn things over and we just say, I'm letting go of control, I don't want to go at life alone. I don't want to go at life alone. I want to see the magic. I want to see the signs. I want to see the synchronicities. I want to talk to the divine. I want to know that you are working through me and to me at all times. I want to know that you are creating, that you are guiding me to the exact people that need me and giving me the message that I need. And that this is the platform to which I get to share that message. And I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. And I know that in those blessings and in that deep gratitude, more and more comes, and that is where we want to live, that it's the heart-to-heart energy. When you ask yourself, what would love do? Then there is no room for separation from divine consciousness or from the faith that exists within you and that's meant for you, because it's in faith that we get to create. It's in faith that manifestation happens. It's in faith, in the imagination, in our minds, that God plants a seed for what it is that we're being called to, that is our divine purpose. Our purpose is not to be in pain and to struggle in separation, but to come together in full faith, in oneness, and to pursue our passions that bring us joy. And in us doing the things that bring us joy, we are actually being of service. We are doing everything that our souls came here to do. But when we are in denial and we are in separation and we are in isolation, we are basically saying, I'm disconnecting myself from all of the magic and all of the powers that be and everything that's here to support me. And I'm choosing to go at life alone. And I'm choosing that I am the one that has to make it work. And if you're in dieting or if you're in isolation, it's a me-centric world. And that's not what we're intended to do or be as humans. So come back to faith. Please share this video with whoever needs it. And the invitation for whatever that is for you, whether it's the universe, source energy, mother nature, a woman, a God, a man with a white beard in the sky, whatever that is for you, it doesn't matter, because it's you. It's whatever you want it to be. It's not what I see, it's what you want it to be. But when you connect back into that divine energy, I promise you, that's when the world opens up to you. That's when blessings come from nowhere. That's when you feel the support of the world and you look and you see something like a hummingbird outside your window and you're like, oh my God. Or like me, I saw a red cardinal when I was really missing my mom and I was just like, she's with me. You know, I know that she's with me at all times, but there's these things, there's these elements in life, and we're all interconnected. And thinking that you're not and going at life alone is a lonely road. And just try it, whatever that is for you. And prayer is powerful and prayer heals. And that was the other thing that I saw. I used to think, oh, in order to talk to God, I need to speak in Shakespearean tongue, or I need to, I can't just let God know. I can't let him know when I'm angry. And no, I talk to God like a friend. Sometimes I'm like, I'm really like, what is going on? And I also go in with utmost respect, but it's a relationship. And if you really see God as a father, as an omniscient, unconditionally loving source and power and entity that's running through you and around you, that's there for you, then you're never alone. And you know that your dreams and the desires on your heart are a calling from something that's greater than you. So then you start to go, well, if it was planted there from something greater than me, that knows better than me, and that it's already manifest for me, then all I need to do is follow my joy, follow what makes me happy, and trust and know that my success is inevitable. My happiness is here, and all I need to do is allow myself the gift of who I came here to be. And if it's already done, then there's nothing for me to figure out. My only job here is to align and take a step toward it each day and give thanks for it already happening in advance, right? And that's the gratitude, that's the blessing. And when we come from gratitude, and when we come from love, and when we come from joy, there's no room for the ego. There's no room for the derailment, the negative spiral, the doubt, the worry, and the fear, because you know, again, that you are supported, that you are loved, that your success is inevitable, and that you are intended for your dreams and for your happiness. And so does that discount trauma? Does that discount hardship? No. But what I do want you to know is this. When I look back, and as an intuitive, I see so many struggle many years longer than they need to. And we could say part of that is about the soul's journey and soul's correction. And it's also that we often want things to look a certain way or be a certain way. And many times we get caught in believing that we're deserving of struggle and pain and hardship, or we're very much tied to our past and in a lot of blame and victimhood. And that again is where we get to rely on faith and have that be what elevates us to a higher level of consciousness and connection, and to know again that we are better in support and in community and together. And if that is something that you're needing, I am right now running a Next Level You 30-day challenge that's completely free, where it is on YouTube. You join me live every day at 11, and it is fully holistic to get you back in alignment, to get you back to taking care of yourself, to connection with you, to connection with something greater, and to start prioritizing your health, your well-being, and what you want. But if that's something you want, I'll put the link below. And no matter what, please, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, but most of all, what I would love is for you to share it with somebody who needs it. And please know that I am here for you every step of the way. Look and find what that is for you and tether yourself to it, and know that you are loved. You are meant for great things. I believe in you. I love you. I am so grateful for you. And I hope that this brought you joy today and reminded you of something that's very true for you. Look for the signs, look for the love, look for the magic, and know that prayer is powerful. Your faith is undeniable, and that is what will guide you and open doors for you like nothing you could have ever imagined. And so you're never alone. We are all connected, we're all one, and we are always all better together. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And if you related to this, I would love to hear your story. Did you come back to your faith? Are you kind of feeling disconnected right now? Or what is something that supported you? I'd love to hear in the comments below and get to know you even better. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. All my love, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.